We got some casting news, so we're going to discuss that. It's very exciting. I'm Christine.
And I'm Sasha, and we're going to be talking about lots of fun stuff today.
Yeah, and we're taking...
As warlocks, should we tell them who we are today, Christine?
Oh, yeah, if you can't tell, we're Zombie Dot.
Woohoo! Dorothea versions of ourselves, and we're really excited. So at the end of today's live show, tweet us people that you want us to recreate for the next one, which will be on my channel in 2 weeks. So get thinking, because we are ready to become people for you guys.
And right now, definitely tweet us your questions using the hashtag POLANDUTOPIA. If you don't know how to spell POLANDUTOPIA, it's in the title. Very exciting. Okay, so we're gonna start off with our general thoughts like we usually do. Sasha, you just watched episode 3 and 4.
Yep.
Your thoughts? Which one did you prefer?
Okay, so honestly, I really did enjoy the first, not the first one, but the first one I watched today, which is episode 3. I've come to terms with the fact that this show is not going to be similar to the books. It took me a season and a little bit to come to terms with that fact, but I'm just trying to take it how it is and enjoy it for that. But the third episode was pretty enjoyable. I did really like that. And then the fourth one was the one that I was like, what the literal F about? Not because it was bad acting or bad stuff like that, but it was more like I questioned the choices that they made in it really a lot. And then some things that I want to talk about with you today, Christine, about theories that I have. So what are your thoughts on it? Which one was your favorite?
Okay, so I think I like the 4th episode better, just in terms of not because it's like the book, but taking a step back and just watching it for a show. I think it flowed nicely as an episode of something. It felt like an episode rather than a lot of the Shadowhunters episodes we get feel like a jumble of scenes smushed together that don't really connect, which was a really nice change. And there was some moments in there that did feel like the book. It was just all of a sudden we're like, whoa, that's from this. But yeah, I think we're improving. I think the show's improving. So I am happy with it, going up. I feel like it's not going down.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. Something that I've noticed that I would just like to make this known before I forget it is that I think that they're combining City of Ashes and City of Glass together in a sense. They're taking a lot of elements from the 3rd book and meshing them together in season 2. And there's lots of points Jace being held in the City of Bones, and then Hodge being there, and all those parallels to the 3rd book are being transported into the 2nd one. And I've been thinking that's really interesting, very interesting. And it makes me want to know how they're going to execute it in the 3rd book. What's going to happen in the 3rd season? What are they going to do in that? These are some pretty major plot points that they're adding in.
Yeah, they're going off book. I mean, Jace does get held in the City of Bones in book 2, and he does get Valentine.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, Valentine comes just like he does in the end of the 4th episode, which was very much out of the book. It felt like to get the sword. I
need to reread this book, Christine. This happens every single live show. I'm I know a lot about this book series, and I'm I haven't read it in 3 years.
Yeah, so that does happen, but Hodge is not there. Hodge is in the cell next to Simon when Simon gets in jail in Idris in book 3 in City of Glass. So yeah, they just killed Hodge with no regard. He was just there for no real reason, and be oh, this place does stuff to you. It gives you nightmares, because he had this nightmare about Clary, which I didn't really put together in the time, but I watched Emma Books' review, and she was like, yeah, that's from City of Fallen Angels. And I was like, oh my God, it was. Remember he had these dreams that he was killing Clary?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay. So they're really just pulling things from everywhere and just pushing them together.
Yeah. I find that very interesting because Christine, you probably understand this as you're a film major, and you probably have you've probably seen this a lot, and how the books, we may seem us as the watchers, we may think, oh, it's so easy to go buy the book. It's so easy. It's already there for you. And I think that what they're trying to do is make it different from the book in the sense that it'll be kind of refreshing and different for the people who have read the books. But I've seen two sides to this. I've seen one side that's like, no, why would they do that? And the other side's being like, okay, I like being surprised. But those are mainly the people who are more chill about it. Me, in the sense that I'm like, you know, I would like to see more accurate to the books just because they're very great books, and I really would love to see that. Yeah. But am I mad about it as I used to be? Not so much, but I am kind of like, can we still keep on to the storyline that we had before?
No, yeah, I mean, like, I'm not mad if they go off per se. I'm mad if they do it poorly and then, like, mess the world of the book that they have, and then nothing can flow at all to the way the regular story flows because they've messed it up so much. Like, the plot changes so much. Like, if it was an amazing show and they had strayed from the plot, like, I'm all for that. But, like, when the show is like weird and not really flowing, it's like you have a whole structured world that's completely fleshed out. Use it. So I mean, I think what the writers have done in this most recent episode worked as an episode on TV. But because because like they are pulling some stuff from the books now, we know Sebastian is coming. In this particular episode, they had like the demons inhabiting like the Shadowhunters, which I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but people in the comments were talking, like reminded me, like that is a thing that cannot happen, and that's like the whole plot of Fallen Angels, because Jace is inhabited by the like it's possessed because he was like reborn. Remember when he died in Steve? Yeah. And so he didn't have that ritual that like makes it so no one can possess you. So I don't know. They kind of like really messed up the
dynamics for that.
Yeah, the rules.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, you know, two of the major things that I wish they did not have in the TV show that I'm really confused about why they chose to put them in is that I'm really confused why they did the shape-shifting rune. I've made that known. And I'm really confused as of why they made the demons inhabit these Shadowhunters, because that messes up so much. Those two things mess up a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Okay, the shape-shifting rune. So I was so excited there was no shape-shifting rune for the first time this season in this past episode. But then people in the comments, because I didn't watch it twice, I only watched it once, were like, well, I don't think Jocelyn was Jocelyn because I saw a shape-shifting rune on her arm when she was in Clary's room. So there's a huge chance, because Jocelyn died, but there's a huge chance that that wasn't Jocelyn.
Oh my gosh. Then who would, like, that's a really good point. And like, you know what I've been thinking? I don't know where I think Tasha told me it. It was her theory, and she may have gotten it from you, Christine, but like talking about how the is the Inquisitor?
Oh, Aldertree, yeah, I was talking about
Aldertree. Oh yeah. Like him being the
him being Sebastian.
Yeah, Sebastian. I'm like that. Like now that that's been in my head, I can't unsee it.
Oh yeah.
And I cannot unsee it, and so I'm like, you know, it's very interesting seeing those parallel and seeing how like those could be the case. And I think that the only reason we could see that is because we've read the books and we know like how the characters would act. Although I'm not mad that Sebastian's going to be in the second one. I'm not mad about that at all. I think that's cool, but I'm kind of like I'm confused about what role he's going to play in this world.
I mean, he's going to play someone evil. I'll be annoyed if it actually is Eldertree, because that's the first thing that popped into my head. I was just like, oh, yeah, that's Sebastian with a shape-shifting rune. And, like, it's just such poor, like, plot twist writing to use the same plot twist over and over and over and over and over again. And it's just like, we hate it already. And to use it as, like, your, like, exciting plot twist, no, stop.
No.
So, like,
seriously.
They casted Sebastian, and I don't know if you watched like the Facebook live stream with Dom, but Dom like introduced him over Facebook live stream, and he was like, so he comes into the show via someone we've already met.
You know, and that makes me. Do you know what's one of my favorite parts in this book series, because it's kind of like a LOL moment, like a huge one, and it's kind of like, well, Clary, you don't know how to pick the guys. And that is like in City Glass when she kind of starts falling for Sebastian, or not falling for him, but they end up kissing. They're actually related. I'm like, I wish that was still in this. I wish that was still going to be the case, because it's such like a funny moment. Because it's kind of like, Clary, you need to pick your guys more wisely.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it would be great if they did do it that way. And if maybe, like, if it isn't Aldertree, maybe it's someone else that she has met and like starts to date. You know what would be cool? Definitely not Raphael, but I was like, I would be down for it to be Raphael. It's not, because he's a vampire, so sorry.
Yeah.
From your mind. But if some other random character came in and it turned out to be Sebastian, I'd be like, okay, that makes more sense than Al. I mean, it's less obvious than Al. I mean, it's obvious, but it feels like the book more if they like started dating, and it was like, what
exactly.
He took over. What's his name? Simon. And he pretended to be Simon. And then they were dating. And then she kissed him and it felt so wrong. And he was like, ha, it's your brother.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh my gosh. That'd be so interesting. And like, there's so many different ways that they could do this, but I have a feeling that they're going to do it in a very predictable way. That's just because, like, I've been looking at the comments on my screen right now, and it's just like, they've been recycling the same plot twist, somebody just said. And like, I think that's, yeah, and I want them to kind of like come out of like nowhere with this. Do you want to actually wish they did? I wish they never. I know they probably would have never done this, but I wish they wouldn't have told us that they cast Sebastian, and then he just like pop up out of nowhere, and then all of us would have been like, oh, because that would have been way like cooler.
That would have been the right way to do it. When you have a surprise character coming in, you don't understand that he's coming, but alas,
like, oh guys, he's coming over here.
It is not the Shadowhunter TV way.
Nope. Oh my gosh, but that's so true. They're like, hey guys, watch out, Sebastian's out of your way, but we wanted it to be a surprise. Like, but what? No. Yeah, but how do we talk about the Sebastian casting?
Yeah. So what did you think when you saw him? Because I was like, dang, he's attractive.
I know. I was like, okay. The thing is, like, I've always loved Sebastian. Like, I know people are like, he's so bad, but I'm like, but he's so good at being bad. And then when I see him, I'm like, he's the most perfect casting I could pick for Sebastian. That's an actor who knows how to act. He's hot, but he's also like, he looks like he can play a really creepy Sebastian. And I'm really happy because he looks like him as well.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him and I was like, oh, I don't want to like Sebastian.
I know.
Because I like him as a villain in the book, but I'm so creeped out by him. Like, he's a scary villain. He's not like Valentine where I'm like, he has some humanity. He's like ruthless and creepy AF when he's like, Clary, date me. I know I'm your brother, but don't you like me? Like,
don't I look nice?
He like creepily pushes her against walls and like hits on her multiple times, and it's uncomfortable.
I know, and that's what we like. And do you want something I've been wondering about? Just Clary's romantic interests in the books and seeing how they're going to be on the screen. Is that, do you think that they're even going to have the Simon and Clary romance like how they had it in the books? Because it doesn't seem like they're building up to it too strongly.
I think it's going subtly right now, and I like that because they're never really subtle in the first season.
Exactly. Yep.
We have a really great moment in episode 4 where like right at the end, Jace and Simon kind of walk to comfort her, but like Jace stops and lets Simon do it, and they have a moment. And so I think they're working towards like a light little connection with them, not like a heavy duty relationship. But it never felt like that, right? It never felt like really.
It never felt like too much. It felt kind of like almost like awkward because it's like they're best friends. They seem only like friends, and then whenever they try to kiss or something in the book, I was like, yeah, no, they're friends. But side note, somebody said something really great that I wish that the people about part of Shadowhunters did, and that is like, this is from Jessica, and she said, to announce Sebastian, they should have just tweeted Eric Komai and then nothing for 24 hours, then announce him. So it's like, I am coming, and then he would be there, and then that would be such a good thing. These people would freak out over that. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but Eric Komai. But it's something that he says in the books. I remember that.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Who's I'm talking about? Okay, you know how they announced Sebastian?
Eric?
No, Sebastian.
Okay.
Yeah. So Sebastian, they should have announced it how this girl just said, and they should have made it a huge mystery. Just tweet out like the word that like is known for Sebastian, and then not say anything.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like he popped into my newsfeed out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh, come on.
It's the note he leaves. The I'm coming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yep. That's a great way to.
Sorry, Emma just corrected something that I did not realize. The shape-shifting ruins are like permanent on your arm. So when we see that shape-shifting finger went on Jocelyn in that one shot because people were talking about it in my comments thinking that she's alive, you know, and it wasn't her. But like everyone has it permanent on their arm, so there's a chance that she is really dead. So I don't know. Do you think Jocelyn's really dead?
That makes it's interesting, and I think it's funny how they're permanent on your arms now. But I think that they're gonna bring her back with some voodoo magic or something because I think that'd be great if she is dead because otherwise, where is she?
I mean, we don't really need her for a long time.
I know, exactly.
like she's kind of fair, and she's kind of not. She doesn't really blend in with the nice. Like everyone's in this nice acting groove, and then you have Jocelyn. She's like, "Hey, Coco, come with me to Idris." like,
yeah, let's go to Idris with me, and we're gonna go party. It's kind of like okay. Let's talk about let's see what they're saying on here. Okay, so do you think that Hodge's death was necessary in the sense that would you rather he die in the next season or because with him dying, he just all of a sudden like has like a freaking blade through his head and I'm like, oh, is that Hodge?
I know, she's like, wait, what?
I was like, where was Hodge like this whole entire time? I know that he was like I kind of forgot that he was taken away or something.
And also, didn't it feel like when the Silent Brother died, Hodge was like a little too excited to use his hand to open up the jail cell rather than appalled. Rather than appalled that he's dead, he's like, quick, use his hand to get out, or else he won't be able to get out. I was just like what? Why are you like? I thought it felt like he knew that Valentine was maybe coming, like that he was kind of in on it, but then he just died, and it was just like he didn't die in a way where he redeemed himself, like he did. He just died.
It's okay, bye. Oh, side note. Okay, so like something that I like want your opinion on is that like the vibe of the show. So like they've been adding in lots of modern elements to it. Like for example, Jay's ending up on the shore with the dead body next to him, like just this woman running past him. Then all of a sudden he's, he gets sent to the hospital. And then it's such like. It doesn't, those points, it pulls me out of the storyline because they're so different from the vibe of the books and vibe of the show that it's trying to give it. That I'm like,
yeah, they feel also just like out of the blue and unnatural because running assume that like Jace murdered this dead girl he washed up on the sea with. I just like, and then like, I don't know, he's like running from, I don't know, just putting him in the hospital. It just all felt not Shadowhunters at all. I was just like, what is this?
Yeah, and I'm kind of sad because of that. Like something that I wish they stayed true to is like, okay, when a book has such a great world in it and has such a good atmosphere and vibe, it's even better if it's reciprocated on the screen. And I feel like I got over the fact that there's lots of Shadowhunters in the Institute and there's those techie stuff. But when they bring in such like out of water scenes per se, like they implant them in there, it's like what? Huh? And I'm like, am I watching Grey's Anatomy? Because we're in a hospital.
Yeah, it just felt out of place. Proud Bookline asked, what did you think about Sebastian having an accent? And I don't know if he's actually going to have an accent in the show, but he might because he grew up in Idris. I would actually prefer it because I think he sounds like real good with his accent.
Exactly. I was reading these comments, Christine, and ready. I want your opinion on this. So you know that scene that like Jace was like, kill me like how you killed my falcon?
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's talking about how awful it was.
It was so uncomfortable. Like I made a whole big deal about it in my review this week, but like they just kept bringing it up. It literally felt like a parody. Like, yeah, kill me. Like that time when you killed my falcon. Like,
dun, dun, dun.
Years ago, it was your pet. Like, it's not, you can't compare the two. It doesn't make any sense. And then he brought it up, Aldertree. This is another reason why, like, that really pointed to, like, Aldertree being Sebastian. Like, he brought it up when he was being on trial with the sword. Like, yeah, I know about your falcon story. Like, what?
That was, like, so much of a, hello there, I am Sebastian moment that I'm like, if he isn't Sebastian, how will he know all this stuff? Like, let's be honest. Like,
and it's like it was it wasn't even like we got the Falcon story like real nice in season 1. It was like they were running from someone, and Jace was like, "Let me tell you something about this falcon I had." It was so out of place. And Clary just like listens, and it's like,
let me tell you about this falcon.
Yeah, no, it was like straight out of like the video.
I know, right?
Let me tell you a story.
Yeah, let me tell you a story about my spaghetti. Everybody's talking about the spaghetti now.
Yeah.
But yeah, about like the accent with Sebastian and stuff, I'm just excited. You remember in the movie how they all had British accents and stuff? Yeah, like, you know, that was cool in the sense that, like, you know, they did come for Idris, not Simon and Izzy. Not Simon, why do I keep saying Simon? Alec and Izzy. But, like, I think that'll be cool because that'll kind of show that how Aldertree has an accent and the Sebastian has an accent. Hopefully they'll keep that as a theme throughout the
Oh my God, that's why Aldertree has an accent. He's Sebastian.
Oh! Why don't? We're so good at predictions.
Oh my God, Lydia doesn't have an accent. Like, I mean, like, no one else that we've seen coming in has an accent. This is ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, but I want him
I'm like mind blown right now. I'm like, wait, so true. So true. Oh, wow. What if Aldertree, like, a lot of people know him and all of a sudden he has like this regular, like an American accent, and then all of a sudden he switches to British and people are like, okay, cool. You know, he's gonna do what he's gonna do. Some people just love talking different accents.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of him, like, having a different accent than everyone around him, because it kind of, like, I don't know, it makes him more interesting and evil and weird.
Yeah.
But it also, like, doesn't make sense, no. Like, because if he grew up under, what's his name? Valentine. Valentine didn't have an accent, you know? And the other guy that Valentine was pretending to be didn't have an accent. Literally no one has had an accent.
Except Sebastian. Okay, you know Raj in the show?
Yes.
Yes,
I know Raj.
Bobo Bottles just says, she's like, why was Raj more like Jace than Jace?
Oh my God. Jace is just a different character in the show. He just has no sass going on really at all. So
Yep. I'm like,
I'll never make my peace with it completely, but like I've learned to like ignore it.
Yep.
On the topic of Jace, like, what did you think of Jace and Clary's chemistry at the beginning of the 4th episode when she visited him in the City of Bones?
I thought that was actually pretty good, honestly. I thought it was very good, and I think that his reaction to that dream that he had of her, like, just a side note, is that, like, that was pretty good acting, and that was pretty good, like, that whole entire scene and sequence. I did not mind it. I really did not mind it. I thought it was better than what it used to be. Everything seems less forced in this season.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, it definitely does. And I feel like, that scene felt like an improvement, definitely, for them. I didn't feel like they, like, loved each other, like, romantically still. I feel like their romantic chemistry is off, but their brother-sister chemistry is definitely working for me.
Yeah, it's much better.
Yeah, so, I don't know. We'll see as we move on. I hope they, like, subtly move back into having, like, romantic feelings, not, like, abruptly forced. Because this was subtler. It was.
Yeah, it's, like, subtler. And, like, when he was, like, being questioned in City Bones, like, do you love your sister, like, in a romantic way? He's like, yes. And then I'm like, you know, we never really see the love, like, true love in any of their actions besides, like, desperation. And that's not even, like, true love. That's more, like, they're not showcasing it as well. And I think that's mainly because the first season, it wasn't done as well as it should have been. So it could have been more, like, prominent in this season in a more realistic way. So, like, that's something I hope that they gain a little bit more of. It's more of a feel of love rather than just, like, love of siblings or just forced love.
Yeah, no, it was very forced in the first season. So hopefully we feel better about it as we go along. Someone asked, what are your thoughts on every demon being killed with a single stab? Yeah, that's still happening. Like, Clary still just slashes it once, and it's like, ah! And very conveniently, like, sat there and waited for her to stab it. Like,
I know, like, it was that easy. Anybody could be a Shadowhunter.
Yeah, I mean, like, she did have some cool moves where she, like, came down on Izzy and was like, hurrah! But, it was easy. It's just so easy to kill the demon.
It's a little bit too easy because it almost seems like Shadowhunters are supposed to be these beings of might, and they're supposed to be these beings of just like such skill that no human can rival. And when I see Clary's still pretty much a mundane in the sense of skill-wise. She has just been with the Shadowhunters a few weeks, and like it would be more realistic for it to be a little bit harder for her to kill these like monster demons.
And I understand she was like driven by revenge and stuff, and she's been trained by Izzy, which I've liked. Like the references to like, oh, I love like their relationship is really nice. Let's see. What? Hold on a minute. Do you like the Mark first date thing? Who's Mark? Karina asks.
Oh, Malik.
Oh, it must have auto-corrected.
Yeah, I read that one too. No, and then I was like, Mark. I'm like, Malik. Oh my
gosh. I was thinking TDA. I was like, Mark. He's not here.
So what were your thoughts on the first date?
Yeah, I loved that scene. It felt like for the first time, I really felt like their relationship and their lines felt really natural and genuine and cute. I was like, that was real and cute.
I love it. No, I can completely agree. Honestly, like, this show for me is driven forward by Malik, Simon and Izzy, and Luke, surprisingly. I really like all their characters. Not saying that Clary and Jace are not like great. It's just like these other characters come forth, and they're honestly what makes me like keep on watching the show in such like it makes it fun. And so like seeing Malik being portrayed is really great because they're such like an amazing couple, and I wanted to see more of them, and I'm really happy that we get to in this season. And also it really showed Magnus's love for but like also how much he cares about Alec when he is trying to heal him, and he like literally has used all his power up on Alec to save him, and that's really like was so amazing. I love seeing that.
Yeah, it was really nice to see their relationship kind of feel more real. Like it felt like not forced, which was really, really nice. Karina asked another question that was interesting because I was thinking about this too. Do you think the blood that was taken from Jace at the hospital will come back into play? And I feel like it coming back into a play would be a very like first season thing to happen because it just doesn't feel realistic. The hospital is like all made of muggles. I mean, mundanes. It's all
big difference.
What are they gonna do with it? Like report it to the Shadowhunters? But it might.
Yeah. I agree. It might come into play, and if it does, I hope it does not come into play too much because it could bring like mundanes into the play with the Horner story. And I'm like, just keep the mundanes out of it. Just like glamour them, do something so they just forget about everything that just happened, please. Want to talk about Maya?
Oh yeah, sure. I thought Maya did great. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought she was great. I have I think that she was a great character in the show. I thought that she was very true to like the character in the books. But I've always had this thing with Maya that sometimes she annoyed me, and I don't know why. Just like sometimes when the characters are like so rash, I'm like, just think for a second. But that's just me being a very like I think everything through. So I'm like, Sasha, these are characters that are supposed to bring out this emotion in you. But I definitely did like Maya, and she looks like Maya, and like I'm wondering if they're gonna bring in Jordan.
Yeah, I think eventually they will bring in Jordan. Will they bring him in as Kyle? I don't know, but we haven't seen the backstory about Jordan, so it won't have a big impact on us yet. Because when we're introduced to Maya, the first thing we learn is that story about how her boyfriend was all of a sudden abusive, and then all of a sudden, like, she was changed. So I feel like we need that before we go anywhere near the Jordan storyline.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to see that with, like, a weird flashback ruin. They're werewolves. So we can't do that.
So like how they had those flashbacks with Alec and Jace, their parabatai like ceremony and everything. One thing I was like really I found really funny was that they used like probably teenage actors in the second flashback, and like they could have just like made the two older actors look younger because like that's easily done. But I was like, it's like okay, I did not mind it, but I thought it was funny how they did that because usually in shows they don't even cast characters if they're just like the younger teenage versions of their characters because they just like make the actual actors look younger. So I was just like, but they did look like their characters. But I found that very interesting.
They look like different people.
They had brown and blonde hair, and like That's the thing. I'm like, the younger versions, you know, that's okay. I agree with that. They actually look like their characters.
Okay,
but when they're like teenagers,
the teenagers, it was just like, you should have used the actors. What are you doing?
you do that too. It's very easy, and it's just like, okay, so usually they don't do this in shows because usually they just care more about you know, saving the money from hiring the actor.
Proud Book Lion asks, "Where's Max?" Great question. Where the fudge is Max gone? He just
Daycare.
He disappeared.
That's so true, though. Like, where is Max? I love the actor who played Max. I really did love Max.
He was really cute. He didn't really fit in with the rest of the family.
No, but he was like a fun, like
him.
Yeah, he just like, it was adorable.
Yeah, he was just really cute. Fame Rez says, when you die, if you're wearing the shapeshifter when you come back to your normal form. So, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That should be Jocelyn, unless they bend their own rules.
Yeah, which they, I wouldn't put it past them.
Like, yeah, we can't put that past them because they do that all the time. But
yeah, yep. More like, so people are wondering if they're gonna change the mango and duck scene.
Well, those are very different scenes.
I know. I'm like, you know what? I hope that they have them in there. Maybe like this is something that you need to message to the writers on Twitter about, just to be like, hey, please have this. I really appreciate that.
Aren't the duck scenes originally in like the Clockwork series, right?
Wait, no, but Jason's also scared of ducks, isn't he?
Yeah, but doesn't he like mention it in reference to that? Like, we laugh because we know about Will, right? I feel like that.
Maybe, but the mango scene is something I want them to have.
The mango scene is great, but the reason why those scenes are so great and fun is because Jace is Jace and Simon is Simon.
Yeah.
And the show, Jace isn't really Jace. Jace is emotional, sad, serious dog. And
you know who Jace reminds me of? Will.
Yeah.
Will in the sense that he's really moody a lot of the time. Will does have more comedic timing, but Jace is he's very lighthearted in the sense that he will throw jokes out anywhere. Meanwhile, Will has his more moody side. So I'm like, come on.
I actually saw it the other way around. Like, Jace is like moody but sassy, and like Will pretends not to be moody and is sassy.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, in general, I'm just trying to reason with myself why they wouldn't make Jace so sassy, because like I feel like they should, like, Jace is a very sassy character, and like it's so important.
Who Jace kind of reminds me of one of the Lightwood brothers in the Infernal Devices. Maybe Gideon. Like, yeah.
I can see Gideon definitely. Yeah. It's just like, you know, I just want more. I'm trying to reason with the fact that, like, you know, I want the sarcasm that Jace has in the books just a little bit more. We have some scenes, but it's very far and few in between.
Yeah, I don't think we've had like nothing that's really hit and been like, nice one, Jace.
Yeah, it's mostly Simon is like the really snarky one in the show almost.
And he's not even, he's more like sarcastic rather than snarky.
Yeah, it's just like more like, let's make funny jokes.
Yeah, Jace is more snarky and like he's sarcastic in a mean way that is funny.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Emma says the duck scene's in City of Lost Souls, so it's further in. It is after we've read something in the series. Okay. When do you think they'll introduce Clary's ruin power?
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
They introduced it, they completely dropped it. Like, it was the first episode, right? With the cup.
It's not as important as it was in the books. And it's so important to know this, but they've been kind of twisting the rules from the book. So I feel like I want to be surprised if there's somebody else that comes into play. Like, maybe they'll make Sebastian be able to draw runes. I'm not even sure. But
they better not do that.
If they do that, I'm going to literally go over to LA, knock on the writer's door, and be like, hello, Q1, write something for me.
Someone says, didn't Max go back to the London Institute? If Sebastian is an Elder Tree, do you think he'll come back with Max? Interesting. Maybe. Yeah, I know that's a possibility. I didn't know. Maybe I missed it, and they said like Max was at the London Institute or something. I did not remember that though.
Ooh, you know, I would be really happy to know where Max is. Very happy, because Max, we need to know who Max is in order to really truly love him and to have the emotion that happens in another book for what, I'm not going to spoil it, but like there's something that happens, and so we have that emotion, and we need to know Max a little bit better.
Oh, this is an interesting thing, because I was talking about this in my review this week, because I don't know what the repercussions of Jocelyn dying will be. Like, will there be an attempt to bring her back from the dead? And Katie just tweeted, do you think Clary will unlock her ruin powers by using the necromancy ruins that she created in the books on Jocelyn? Because remember, she brings that baby back from the dead for like a second in
oh my gosh.
She invents a ruin.
Wow.
So
That's a good point.
That would be really interesting and weird if they did that. I could see, like, I wouldn't put it past Valentine to like want to bring her back from the dead, because Valentine loves her.
Yep.
So,
yep. Valentine's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it would be a weird like TDA sort of feel.
Yes. Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Yes.
What do you think of Clary and Alec's relationship? Because I love it.
Clary and who? Alex?
Alec.
Oh, I love Alec's relationship with Clary just because it's so, I believe that it's very true to the books because.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And doesn't it feel kind of like, it feels more like the Clary Jace relationship to me than
yeah. Oh my gosh.
in the show.
That's why some people do ship Clary and Alec together, even though that's when, at the very beginning of last season, people were shipping Alec and Clary, and I was like, why? Now I understand why, because he is acting like how Jace should.
Yeah, that's why. I think I had an extended discussion about that. Yeah, back in like the first season, because he acts more like Jace than Jace does, and they have this like kind of like hateful but caring relationship that would be fun to see developed into something romantic. So if like Alec was bi and you could date both of them, I'd be okay with it.
Girl, same. Wow. So, are you checking the Twitter or?
I'm looking at the Twitter because the feed goes really quickly.
Yeah, same. I'm like looking at the feed just in case there's some stuff to see. So what if they don't have the Sealy Court scene? What if they don't have the Sealy Court at all? Because we haven't really seen much of the Sealy.
I've heard from someone in my comments that the Sealy Court scene was confirmed, that it was happening. So I'm excited about it. I think like just further down the season.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exciting because that's the scene I really wanted to see too.
Yeah, that is like as a scene. And like, side note, because like everybody's talking about Malik and stuff. I love like Malik, and I want to make sure that the writers don't mess up their relationship at all, because like they've been doing it very well so far, and I really, really want them to stay true to that, just because personally, like Malik has been such like a driving force in the book series.
Oh yeah, of course.
I just hope for them, and like while everybody else like is kind of falling apart, their relationships, Malik is pretty great, and they have some really great issues that they have to overcome together. And I'm really like worried that the writers may mess with that. Like kind of like I was really worried that they may mess with that when Lydia was brought in. I do like Lydia though as a character for sure though.
Yeah, I like Lydia too, but like she was just brought in a weird way to like be with Alec when Alec like was with Magnus, and it was weird. But like I think I have a lot of hope for like the writers and Malik now because of the scene we had with them that felt like really nice, and I hope their first date is like really nice and genuine. I just like, love them. Did you read that in the Bane Chronicles?
Which one?
In the Bane Chronicles.
What scene?
I didn't read it, so I don't know. The first date between Alec and Magnus.
I read something on her website, like when I first read the books, and I don't know if that's in the Bane Chronicles, but I think that I did read something about their first date, but it may have just been like I read their first kiss. That's what I read. So no, I have not read their first date.
I think I read their first kiss too. Yeah. But like it'll be really cool if we see like a regular first date experience with them without like demon hunting things coming into play.
Yes. Oh, somebody said, "Where's Imogen?"
I don't know.
I don't think they're gonna have her honestly, because they would have added Oliver Tree's here, and I feel like he kind of like sucked up the Imogen character, and like that's how I feel like it's going to be. I'm not too disappointed in that because sometimes you have to condense the characters because in books you can have so much more liberty with more characters than in TV shows. Otherwise, it just gets very confusing. But yeah.
It's weird because she did show up in the first season. Maybe when Aldertree is revealed to be Sebastian, Imogen will have to step in and Queen Bee all the shit going down. You know, like maybe and then. So I don't know. Yeah, she was the one who like put Jace in jail and did all that stuff in book 1 that Aldertree is doing now.
Was Imogen in the first season? People were saying like, wasn't Imogen in the same?
Yeah, she was. She was like that queen figure on like that.
Oh yeah.
Thing. Like it was. Weird.
I totally forgot about her.
Yeah, it was weird.
Wow.
Everyone's asking about the birthmark. Like, guys, I don't think they're gonna be that in depth.
That's too very.
Like, you can't have that kind of expectations for the show.
Yeah, and like, I feel like right now we cannot be picky about those little details. Like, as long as they get the big details right, I'm gonna be happy. And now people are just talking about Imogen, how she's there.
What's it called? People are talking about how like Alec is gay. I know Alec is gay. I was kidding.
Yeah. No, we talk about the TV show Alec and because Jace and Clary do not seem like they have great chemistry in the first season. Because Jace and Clary, that was a very difficult thing to watch in the first season because I think that we both like love the characters so much in the books that like seeing them not have that chemistry on the screen as we wanted it was so painful. Yeah, but now it's coming through. It's coming through. It's shining light. They just have
writers. Yeah, maybe with the new writers it'll be different. Like his dialogue will start to change. What do you think is gonna happen to Maureen? Maureen's just I don't know where she is now.
Oh, I forgot about Maureen too.
Another one of the forgotten characters.
Yeah, and then like wow, Maureen. She was I totally forgot about her. I don't even know if they're gonna add her in too much.
Do you think we're gonna see Simon and Maya start to bond? I completely forgot about that should be happening, but that's a thing.
Oh, that's a thing, and also another thing is that wait, no, I'm trying to think about the other bonds that need to be formed, but yeah, I think just Maya and Simon, and also I want to know if they're gonna have the Daylighter stuff done. Because I want to know how they're going to do that. I mean, there still has room for them to do that, but I also want to know that stuff.
I hope they do that. Like, we want to see Jace die and not die, but almost die because because Simon's dying. And, it's on the boat. It's in the big finale. Yeah, that's when it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's a nice moment for them, too, because Jace and Simon don't get along. But, like, Jace is like, I'll say, like, I'm willing to let you, like, drink from me so you can live because I love Clary. Clary loves you. And, like,
that's what matters. And that's going to be kind of like a redemption for Jace in such a big manner, especially after what happened in this season. So, like, I really hope that they have that.
Yeah. It's an excellent book finale. So,
people are talking about how the Silent Brothers died too quickly in the show. What do you think?
I mean, there are more Silent Brothers that we'll see. Definitely, like the Silent Brother Jeremiah not Brother Jeremiah. Yeah, Brother Jeremiah dies right in the second book when Valentine comes to get the sword.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe so, and like that's why yes, they are very powerful, but they aren't immortal. Like they're immortal in the sense that they have these runes, but that does not mean that they cannot be killed and they cannot be killed fast. So with that being said, I think that they died pretty quickly. Of course, I would like to see more of a fight put up, but once again, those are like minor details that I'm not gonna like hate too much on or talk too much on just because I know that that's probably just to keep the story going.
Yeah, because it's in the book, I'm okay with it. Brother Zechariah didn't die. I don't think.
No, it's like Zechariah.
We didn't know who it was. It was just like a silent brother.
I think it may have been a random one, but like unless we know, they probably will say in the next episode or so, like bring it up. But I don't know.
Do you think Jace will play the piano? Who knows in the show? I'd be happy to have a funny line.
Yeah, it'll probably be really awkward. I mean, like, it's so hard to, like, translate that type of stuff into the show. And, like, even the movie, like, I remember Jace playing the piano, that was great. But, like, it's kind of, I don't know. I think that don't translate very well. In the sense that you have to have the right scene, the right timing, the right emotions.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll just be like, why are you playing the piano in an abandoned room all by yourself at 3 o'clock in the morning, Jace?
Yeah. Yeah, it has to be put in the right way because the show hasn't set itself up to be slow like that. And I would love it to be slow like that, you know, to like have these slow moments like in Game of Thrones where you like really get to know the characters and stuff. But the show so thus far has been just like go, 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 go. And I think it would really benefit from some moments of like slowness. Just because that's like their moments when the characters just talk. Like,
yes.
What have you been thinking of, like, Clary these past few episodes? I feel like she's had really, really great scenes. I feel like
I think so too.
Right. Yeah.
No, I've been really impressed with her. Like, honestly, last season I was not really impressed. That's just because she didn't feel like Clary. This season, I really think that she has kind of come into her character. Now I'm just waiting for Jace and her to come into both their characters enough to portray the right emotions on the screen. But honestly, Clary is like fierce, and that's what I love about her in the books, and that's what I'm loving about her in the TV show.
Oh, this is something that I didn't really talk about much, but like, okay, so we get this story from Magnus to like redeem Camille about how, you know, he tried to commit suicide during the 1870s, which was the time where like 1878 is when Tessa comes into play. And he tries
to 1878 or 1887?
I'm pretty sure it's 1878, but I'm not positive. But anyway, that's when he tries to throw himself off a bridge. He's like gets suicidal, and then she talks him out of it. And I don't know, it didn't feel like something Magnus would do to me, but maybe I just haven't read his the Bane Chronicles, and I don't know about that part of his life. I don't know what's in the Bane Chronicles and what's not, so I have to read those. I feel like
same.
But then, though, after that story, we go to Jace with the Soul Sword. They ask him those questions about Clary, and then he tries to kill himself. And I cut this out of my review because I didn't really have anything to say on it. But like, I guess after thinking about it, I mean, it sounds like something that desperate Jace would do because he feels like he's a demon and he doesn't deserve to live, and he loves his sister. You know, he would do something.
Yeah, and like with that, like, there's a lot of things that need a lot of emotion to be really done well, and that's like another thing that I'm like, yeah, Jace would totally do that in the books because he would be like, that's something also Will would do.
Yeah.
And that's something we would know so well, but I feel like someone who did not read the books wouldn't really know that about the Jace as a character, since like, you know, actually something I've been interesting after writing stuff is that you have to have your character can be a badass like character with superhuman abilities, but they have to have something that the reader can connect to, like the piano playing for Jace, even though he's a Shadowhunter. And so like that would have like shown like a softer side of Jace that I think that we need in this, because right now he's just like the Shadowhunter and there's no other dimension to him.
And they tried to do that, I think, with the Falcon story.
Yeah,
it didn't work. Like you didn't. No, it didn't work. Someone was just mentioning this, which I was also thinking when Magnus was telling that story, and I forgot to mention it. But like, would it kill him if he jumped off a bridge? Like, can that kill an immortal warlock? Or like, I mean, I guess he can die, but I just thought he was like more. It was harder to kill than jumping off a bridge.
I think that you can. I mean, that's a good question. That's, you know, it seems like these that you have to question because we're not really given the information about it in the books because it never happens in the books and stuff like that.
When he's dying, it's always news of like dire, like he was stabbed or like he was using so much magic. Like, not that he like tried to throw himself off a bridge like a human.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. I never really thought about that, honestly. So like, maybe, but probably not. You know, I think it has to take something like an excessive force to kill him.
Yeah, that's what I would think. And that when he was telling the story, I was like, what? It was just like, would that kill you though, or would you just have to swim out of the lake, Magnus? I don't know.
Like, honestly, because if you think about it, if you're a warlock, if you can die super, super easily, then you have to be really careful throughout your life. Like, very careful about things like that all the time. But I don't know. That's a really good question.
Yeah, I mean, like, someone just said a warlock in Lady Midnight dies. If you're talking about, I don't want to say nothing. People not everyone has read Lady Midnight. Do you guys like Raphael?
I love Raphael.
Yeah, I think he stepped up his game also in the show. I don't like the storyline where he's like forcing Simon to find Camille, but
No, that's weird.
that's a little
I like
weird.
the character.
I like the actor. I think he's doing a good job now.
I think he's doing a good job, and honestly, he's different from what he was in the books, but I'm not sad about that. I think that he's actually pretty great in his role, and he's more of a prominent character than I believe that he really was in the books, and that's interesting. That's interesting for me because, like, I don't mind him, and I don't mind that difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do like the way that they're framing Magnus. Like they are framing him as the someone who like brings in people who are lost, who have been brought into the downworld world and helping them, and that's an interesting change for him.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hamilton did this? What?
What?
That was just out of the blue. Doesn't Jocelyn know that Jace wasn't her kid in the books? She does. She like immediately dismisses the fact that she's her son, and it's weird, but that's not happening.
Yeah. Nope. I mean, Jocelyn's pretty much dead.
Yeah, and now that she's dead, she'll never be able to.
So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think we're gonna get a really good sense of like the writers in this next episode, depending on how like the dramatic things that happened, if they stick or not. Like, if Jocelyn comes back to life, it's gonna like automatically frame the show as like somewhere where people don't die. Yeah, and if she doesn't, it's gonna raise the stakes. Like, characters die now, and like this shit's serious.
Exactly, and like. Honestly, I do not mind the new. It was the directors that got changed, right? The director changed in this.
And no, the showrunners changed.
Showrunners. So, I've seen an improvement already with these episodes because they're honestly, I really did enjoy them much more than I did some other episodes. And you know, there are some questionable things that have happened in these episodes. I'm just hoping they're having like a very logical explanation for why these deaths happen, not just out of convenience. Because it seems like very convenient that these characters did die.
Yeah. I mean, there are characters that I didn't mind dying, so I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I know. I don't really mind. Like, honestly, they're side characters, but I'm like, but why? Like, explain to me why.
This was interesting. They talked about Demon Ichor in this episode when Izzy and Clary were down in the basement or whatever, they were looking for it. And just, it kind of, the more I thought about it, I was like, where did the ichor come from? Like, was the demon bleeding? Because in the books, that's what their blood is. So it gets all over them when they slay them.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that after they mentioned that when she slayed the demon, she would get covered in it. And she did, and it just moved like all the other ones.
I would love for that to happen just because it's so just like, instead they just burn up in a sense, and I think that would have been so cool because it shows that they're not going to be pristine. They're going to get down and dirty in this job that they have.
Yeah, and it just adds this element of like difficulty just because like you have to like slash them and there's blood. It's more real than the poof away.
Exactly. Do you have any other like questions that you have?
Yeah, last we could take probably one or two more questions.
Yeah.
Today, Sebastian will never be satisfied. Is he becoming a medical examiner or something that they planted in the first season, which was weird, but like I've accepted it as a show thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. How are they possessed? We already know that. That they don't care about the possession stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What about the child killings? What child killings? In the book, you mean?
Oh, I think that does happen. Remember,
the vampires, right?
In the books.
Yeah, I think it happens in the books, but there didn't happen in this.
No, it didn't happen in the show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, is Alec gonna be feeling really bad about Jocelyn? I mean, I feel like it's definitely something that his character would carry around.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. Like, I think that's going to have repercussions for everyone. And I think that's going to be really good for the show to have this, like, emotional backlash where the actors can really shine. So I'm excited to see that. Like, around, there's going to be backlash on that.
There's going to be backlash. And honestly, like, for Alec, he doesn't really have, like, yes, I feel like he's going to have remorse for what he did, but he isn't going to have too much because I don't think that it was never his fault.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, so, like, I feel like, if it was his fault, Clary wouldn't be standing next to him, like, the next scene.
Oh
so,
yeah, I really liked that because you know in some shows when that happens they do blame
they're like,
the person.
oh,
This
yeah.
is your fault, but like I like that she immediately was like, let's go kill it. And didn't for a second blame him. But like I think if that was you, like I feel like we've read enough characters that have done something under like you know, like Jace, when he does stuff under the control of Sebastian, he still feels really shitty about it. So I feel like it'll be like that sort of a situation. Like I did all this shit under that control and I feel bad about it, but it wasn't my fault. Like he'll get through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe maybe Magnus will help him like talk about it and talk.
I would love that. No, I would love that because that can add on to their relationship that they've, you know, been growing. Like their relationship, I'm so happy with that. How it's been progressing because even in the books it was kind of like a slow burn. Clary and Jace's was very like not rushed, but it was very fast. And in the books I was always like that was really fast because if you think about it, it only happened over the course of a few weeks. But then it was fine because like I thought it honestly went well with it and their characters. But like Max and Alex like storyline is like a really nice slow burn, and I'm really glad that they've been reciprocating that in this TV show because everything else is so fast.
Yeah, because they did try to like having that wedding and then breaking it up. Like that was a dramatic sort of like way to throw their relationship out there. But then they like kind of, you know, they separated them again and made it come back slowly. So I like that. Let's see. We try to have one more question. Okay, let's find a good question. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thoughts on Luke and Jocelyn's kiss? I honestly like didn't even register it. Like
They kissed?
Yeah, they kissed. And I think maybe Emma talked about it in her review and I was like, wait, what? They did? I didn't even notice.
Wait, I didn't even notice either. Wait, which episode?
This one, right before they died, he was like, I'm not losing you. You can't leave. Like, I remember their conversation, but like,
I totally just missed that.
You did too.
I totally missed that. Poor Luke. You know, Luke's just like losing people left and right. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like, Luke's storyline has been just like all over the place. I feel like he's just been used as a way to make other things happen instead of having
bridges. Like he's building the bridges himself.
Yeah. He doesn't have his own like actual line going. He's just like, oh, we need someone to find Adam as this episode, so let's have Luke crack open a cat with Adam as.
Why not? Somebody actually asked, like, I'm not sure if you read this interview, but they say, wait, talk about Cassie's interview. Did Cassandra interview? What? Can you tell me about it?
So
I don't know anything.
Barnes & Noble had this really great interview with her talking about the process of making the show and watching it be so different. And she talked very eloquently about how the first season wasn't really what she would have wanted for her characters or her storylines, but she's hoping with these new showrunners, they're taking her thoughts more into consideration. And it was a really nice article. Like, I feel like I've already gotten these vibes from her. So like, but it was nice that, you know, to see it real in this article.
Yeah. That's nice because like, honestly, a lot of authors like stay hush hush about that stuff. I'm glad that she like at least like talked about it, and that's good for her. Like, I'm really hoping that, like, you know, I'm hoping for the best because for her, this show is, like, literally these books are her children. These are her babies. Yeah. These are, like, what made her who she is. So, like, you know, we as readers are passionate about it, but she, like, I can't even imagine, like, you know, what she's going through as the author of it because, you know, some authors get so much say in their choices of what is in the movie or TV adaptation and what's not.
Rare, though. Yeah,
it's so rare. It's so rare. And it's usually the, not lower budget stuff, but, like, the more, like, personal stuff in the sense that, like, for example, A Monster Calls, like, the author, like, he got so much say in that. I was just talking about this the other day with a friend of mine, and, like, look at John Green's, like, you know, they had to go into it with, like, people who are willing to accept that the author wants say, and people who can't get mad at Cassie for her not having any say.
Yeah, of course. Like, it's very, like, you have to negotiate, say, like, when you sell the rights, if you want it. And, like, she sold the rights so long ago, like, before she even thought this would ever be made. You know, and then Constantine Films got it, and then they sold it to ABC Family, so she really didn't have much control. And And she talked about in the article how like she would give notes, but they would only like they would take like one of them and then leave everything else the way that they wanted it, like all the technology, because they were aiming for an audience of like males that between the ages of 18 and 35, which was like not who the books were targeted at all. So it kind of really shifted her world into a place that she wasn't as comfortable with.
Exactly. Oh, there's another great question that just showed up. It's like, what do you think about the heat tracking like stuff that's been happening?
Yeah. What did you think about that?
I was like, what are you doing? Because that's too easy.
It's also like they have a sensor, like they have an invention that does the tracking.
No, like they're trying to make it very practical for people who may have not read the books, but that's not practical. That's more like, just like take a little bit more time to explain something, and then you can use that for the rest of the like series. Like it's just easy like that. But like, yeah, when I saw that, I was like, why does this remind me of like, CSI Miami or something?
Yeah, it did feel like very much like a CSI show in the beginning, the way that they're like, let's check out this crime scene, let's track this. And like they could have used like Emma just said that like Raziel did not create a heat sensing ruin.
No, I love that. I was like, that's so true. And they're not thinking about an angel creating this stuff. They're thinking about, what do Shadowhunters want to do to make things more technologically advanced?
And the thing is, like, they need Clary to make those ruins, and they haven't planted that. So,
yeah.
Yeah, well, this has been a really fun live show. There's so much to talk about, and we'll be back in 2 weeks on Sasha's channel to talk more about the next 2 episodes. But I think that's all our time for today.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It went by so fast. Don't forget to tweet us what you want us to be next in next 2 weeks on my channel, because that's where the next one will be.
Someone said stop saying like. We're talking like free fall.
Like what are we doing? Like what? Like what? Like what are we doing?
Sorry.
It's so hard not to say those things. They're just like, it's like and like are the 2 most common things people say.
Especially when you're talking off the cuff. We don't have a script right now. We're reading your comments.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys all for watching. You are wonderful. Thank you for your questions. We'll see you next week. I'm Christine.
I'm Sasha.
Goodbye.